Y'all know just who I am.
Oh, you gotta give him that hot touch and all that
like
thing.
Sam. Every time I throw
Ever
it back, he
wonder
like
what it would be like
damn.
to go back to your past self and say, hey, this is what future vehicles are going to be like? Well, Ford is trying to do that a little bit. They're trying to go back a little ways into the street truck kind of mini truck era. And, well, it's got me thinking about this. I covered when they did the Maverick. I covered the Maverick Lobo, and it's kind of fun. Definitely brings back those mini truck vibes, but very sterilized version of that, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's you're showing a new generation this kind of vehicle. But then this week they come out with the Lobo F-150 or F-150 Lobo, however you want to say it, which is quite weird because they call the F-150 in Mexico, they call it the Lobo. So is it the Lobo? I don't know. This is bringing me back to Toyota Land Cruiser vibes, but I digress. Anyways, this got me thinking about this and some things. I want to point out a couple things. We'll talk some positives at first about this vehicle. Then I got some thoughts I want to get in. But you're getting a V8. Now, Ram Trucks just said, hey, we're bringing the V8 back. They're running scared because people want V8s in pickup trucks. So Ford's giving us that. They could have easily put the 3.5 in this thing. But no, we're going to get the 5-liter V8. It's going to make about 400 horsepower, 410 foot-pound of torque, which is pretty good numbers. But when you consider, like, modern V6s are doing those numbers, you're like, okay, you're still going to get the rumbles, though. And that's what sells a truck like this, is definitely the rumbles. But, they're going to do the ground appearance, stuff like that, which is definitely with vibes. I remember, reading all the magazines as a kid. My brother had an 89 S10 that I just wanted so bad. I ended up owning that truck after it was wrecked, though. But I remember my brother cutting the springs. That's what we did back in the day. You didn't have all the aftermarket stuff. So there was no Chevrolet back then with the S10 he had. There was no kits to go do this. So once again, props to Ford for seeing a potential new market or bringing back a new older market. But there's the distinctive look to this vehicle. There's the kind of the LED bar running through that, which is kind of cool. Dual exhaust, it's got the V8, so you got to have the dual exhaust and all that. But the one thing that kind of bothered me was it's going to be on the Super Crew with a 5.5-foot bed. Now, when I was a kid, you wanted short beds. I never wanted the long bed pickup truck. I thought the short beds were more sporty. So props to Ford. They're giving us the 5.5-foot bed, but it's on the Super Crew. Now, we didn't have, well, you had 4-door trucks back then, but they were definitely workhorses. They were nothing that you wanted to own as a kid. And I get the world we live in today. If when I was a kid, we wanted coupes. We did not want 4-door cars, and well, now everybody wants a 4-door car. Nobody seems to want the coupe. So I'm a little torn on this, and I'm going to bring this question to you because I want you to answer it in the comments. But where are you at with like 4-door pickup trucks trying to do the street sing? It almost feels poser like to me a little bit. Once again, I like this truck. I think the Lobo, I think it's an excellent package. What mid-50s to $60,000, which is a lot of money, but you're getting V8, which a lot of brands are wanting to do away with. You're also, you're getting a pretty nice truck. Now, it is based on the STX, and there's some special stuff about this, and I'm just not going to deep dive into this, but this just kind of took me back to my very youth of being 16 years old, wanting to be in this community so bad. I'm in the Middle Tennessee, where we had everybody doing our version of what we thought street trucks in California were like, but we were probably not even close to as cool as they were back then. But we never considered like towing. We cut springs or we lowered these things, and we just did everything we could to make them ride as low as possible. And they beat the piss out of you. And of course, modern vehicles like this new Lobo is not going to do that. But this thing can still tow. When we used to cut the springs and all the stuff we used to do, it killed your towing. You were not going to tow much with this thing. And you keep some payload and stuff like that. But ultimately, is there a market for this truck? And I'm throwing this out to you. Are you a person of age like me? I'm 50 years old. Are you a person that, hey, I wanted a lowrider truck? I remember the imports. This is back when Nissan was big, because for whatever reason, the Toyotas just didn't look good in their little pup trucks like the hard bodies did when you lowered them and put the, I always wanted the cap on the back of it because we had to put speakers back there. You got to do something with that. Of course, I never had all that. Quick story, my brother had this nice S10. My dad ended up with it. I got to drive it on the weekends. My brother pulled out all of his stereo system, put it in his next vehicle. So me and my buddy Jim, we would put everything we had stereo gear, we would mix it together, and we'd spend about 45 minutes every Friday night putting it all together so we could cruise town and try not to be too posery. But those are great memories. Did you do something like that as well? I'm just curious. I'm going down memory lane with this truck. But the new F-150 Lobo package, we've seen it in Maverick. Pretty cool in Maverick. They've done some special stuff with it. I know they've done some special stuff with this truck as well. But for me to really want to cover this, I need your help. I need you guys to like and share this video. It would greatly help me. And leave me a comment. Where are you at with this? Does this kind of thing interest you? Or you're just, it's like, nah, moving on. Usually, though, when Ford makes a move like this, other manufacturers take notice and, well, they join in. So, are you going to join in? So, whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or these street trucks that I used to drive, and damn sure would drive again. It's been your All Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd. Damn, I'm old. We're out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.